We get a lot of thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
President Trump is furious with Vladimir Putin, which should worry the Russian president. Trump stood up to Iran. Doesn't appear he's afraid to do the same to Russia. George Will was one of the first to point out that the West is largely ignoring Putin's real ambitions with the war in Ukraine, and George is back with us, NewsNation senior political contributor, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist. Good to see you, sir, as always. Thank you. I think you are one of the strongest Ukraine advocates in Washington, certainly in the Republican Party. Yet I think you seem unimpressed by the president's words.
Well, first of all, they change periodically. Second, he's shown no sense of understanding the ferocity of Putin's commitment to conquering Ukraine. Third, he has said Ukraine started the war. Zelensky, the Ukrainian president's a dictator. I respect Putin, who's a genius. Why should Putin think that we're not going to lose patience and just pack it in?
So the fact that the new weapons being sent, this reversal, if you will, by the president, you don't think is real?
It might be real until he reverses himself again. That's the problem. And you have to, in a way, sympathize with Putin, because how do you negotiate with someone who's as changeable as the wind? We have two consistencies in our discussion of Ukraine. One is an underestimation of Ukraine's resilience and an overestimation of Russia's capacity. Remember, Leland, when they invaded on the 24th of February, 2022, 3 years and 4 months ago, the Russian soldiers were told to pack their dress uniforms because they would be needed for the victory parade in Kiev in about a week. Well, that didn't work out. And so there's no reason at this point to believe that we've stopped underestimating Ukraine and overestimating Russia.
I think what you're pointing out, and fairly so, is you could call a progression of Donald Trump on Vladimir Putin from, as you said, sounding like he wanted to make a deal and believe Vladimir Putin to this. Take a listen.
I think that's going to work out, too, but so many people have been killed. I hope we're going to be getting a deal done with Russia. I'm going to speak to Vladimir Putin and see if we can get it ended. I said, do me a favor. I'll handle Iran. Help me with Russia. We got to get that one settled. No, I didn't make any progress with him today at all. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there. And I'm very disappointed. We're not happy with Putin. I'm not happy with Putin. I can tell you that much right now.
Just to be fair on this, every other American president, Bush, who looked Putin in the eye, said he saw his soul. Then there's Obama. Then there was, of course, Joe Biden with, what did I tell him? Don't. Okay. At some point, every American president thought they could deal with Putin. They didn't. Trump seems to have gone through that same progression. Why is it not fair to give him a chance with what he's saying now that he might put the thumbscrews to Putin?
Tell me what they negotiate about. Here's what we've already given them. You can keep the land you stole, Crimea, in 2014. You can keep the land you're currently occupying, about a fifth of Ukraine. We promise Ukraine won't join NATO and won't join the European Union. What's left to talk about?
And Putin, you're saying, still won't take the deal?
No, because just wait for the next concession before you get to the table. I suppose we can still negotiate about what, if any, security provisions they can have in Ukraine. Putin will want none, we'll want adequate, we'll settle for inadequate. That'll be the compromise.
What is enough for you with Donald Trump and Putin/Ukraine?
Well, the first thing is, one of the punishments inflicted by us on Ukraine, briefly, and I think we reversed it, was to deny them intelligence. Now, the denying them of weapons was supposed to be justified by the fact that our stockpiles were running low, the pantry shelves were empty. We weren't running out of intelligence. So there indicates a kind of punitive impulse on the part of the Trump administration.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.